Let's do this. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the podcast Before Time. I'm your host, Caleb Lane, and in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the second movie today, as well as continuing our fan fiction that we've been reading, which has gotten so interesting. Which I'm really, really interested about. So as soon as the slow phone decides to, as soon as it decides to load, um, we'll get started. But while we're waiting for it to load, I want to start doing a question of the episode, question of the week, I should say. And this week's question is, if you could be any dinosaur, whether it be a long neck, sharp tooth, swimmer, you name it, triceratops, three horn, what would it be? What would it be? And I'm still working on pulling it up. Personally, I'd find it, that's a hard one. I feel like it make, like, I feel like I'd say I want to be a swimmer so I can hang out with Ducky, because Ducky's my favorite character, but I I don't swim. There's something you didn't know about me. I don't know how to swim. But anyways, now that that's over with, but anyways, comment down below or let me know which character, not which type of dinosaur you would be. I'd probably want to be probably like a spike tail if I had to choose. Maybe a swimmer, or maybe I'll be a swimmer that doesn't swim. Kind of like Petrie was a flyer who couldn't fly. Well, he can now, but you know what I mean. But anyways, we are going to get into the second movie, The Great Valley Adventure. And it is the second installment in the sequel to the 1988 film The Land Before Time. Okay, let's go. Littlefoot, Sarah, Ducky, Petrie, and Spike live a carefree life in the Great Valley under their family's watchful eyes. One day, the gang attempts to get to the sheltering grass to play, but land in the sinking sand surrounding it. So, sinking sand is basically their version of quicksand, I think. Well, a tar pit. But same difference. The adults rescue them and chastise them, never heard that word before, for their recklessness. The next night, the children have a secret meeting and decide to prove their bravery and maturity by venturing into the mysterious beyond, a location outside the valley that is inhabited by sharp teeth, which if you watch the movies, you know that wandering into the mysterious beyond is a horrible, horrible idea and might get you killed. Before they leave, they notice two egg nappers. Ozzy and Strut, stealing an egg from the nest of Ducky's mother. The children pursue the intruders into the mysterious beyond. During a thunderstorm, an ensuing landslide damages the Great Wall that surrounds the valley and protects it from the sharp teeth. And the stolen egg rolls safely back to the nest, but the group does not notice this in the confusion. So the egg is safe for now. In the mysterious beyond, the group discover another larger egg and mistake it for the original. Because, like I said, they don't know that the egg is safe. The original Ducky egg is safe. So, so they mistake it for the original, and so they transport. So they bring the egg back into the valley, and despite finding the original egg back in Ducky's nest, they decide to hatch it. The gang doesn't realize it's from another nest. The egg eventually hatches, revealing a baby sharp tooth. Although Littlefoot's friends are frightened off, Littlefoot quickly realizes that the baby Sharptooth is not yet dangerous and decides to raise the newly christened Chomper as his parent. So, this is where we get to meet Chomper for the first time. This this task proves difficult, as Chomper is not a herbivore, and Littlefoot has no experience raising a child. Ozzy and Strut appear to exact revenge on the group for foiling their earlier theft, but are driven away by Chomper's enlarged shadow, which they mistake for that of an adult Sharptooth. So, so like, if you're watching the movie, you know the scene where it's like he looks bigger than he is. You know. The rest of the gang meets Chomper, and they accept him as part of the group until he hungrily bites Sarah by accident. The group's knee-jerk reaction causes Chomper to run off in tears. The others follow him to a smoking mountain. Is that a volcano? Yep, that's a volcano. Where Ozzy and Strut attempt one more attack to the children, but are stopped when the mountain's eruption sends them plummeting down a canyon. After the group escapes, they encounter two adult Sharpteeth who have managed to enter the valley through the opening in the Great Wall. The whole Great Valley population drives the Sharpteeth off, and the children make it back to their families, but Chomper feels left out and runs away again. The adults inquire as to how the Sharpteeth entered the valley. So, so the adults are asking, like, how did this happen? How did they get into the valley? And the children are like, well, this happened. There was this egg, and that it resulted in a landslide. And so the adults set off to put together a plan to close the opening for good, telling the children to stay behind. Littlefoot runs to the forest to find Chomper. After finding him, they are chased and cornered by the two Sharpteeth. Chomper roars at them, and they recognize him as their son and leave with him. Littlefoot is then kidnapped by Ozzy and Strut, who plan to throw him off the Great Wall. Chomper hears Littlefoot screaming and leads his parents to Littlefoot's location. Chomper's parents rescue Chomper from an attempted intervention and inadvertently do the same thing for Littlefoot by chasing Ozzy and Struck back into the mysterious beyond. Littlefoot bids Chomper farewell as he follows his parents, and he returns to the valley to assist the adults in sealing up the entrance between the valley and the mysterious beyond. Following his experience, Littlefoot tells his grandparents that being young is not so bad after all, but decides he still looks forward to growing up. And basically, that is the whole plot of the movie. And it's definitely one of the better sequels in the series. And while it's not my personal favorite sequel, it's not The Wisdom of Friends. Um but anyways, guys, we are going to spend the rest of the episode reading the fan fiction, which we'll probably read we might read 2 chapters today. Just because we have a lot of time, since we're not doing any quizzes anymore, at least not today. But anyways, guys, so when we left off, Allie has just gotten back to the valley. She had just lost her mother, and yeah, so let's just get into the next chapter. This is chapter 3. Early the next morning, while the sun was rising and both Littlefoot and Allie were still sleeping, Grandma and Grandpa Longneck walked towards the 2 young sleeping children. Grandma Longneck nuzzled her head on both that of her grandson and Allie's. "Time to wake up, my little ones," Grandma Longneck said softly and gently as she nuzzled both Littlefoot and Allie. "But Grandma Longneck, it's early," Allie spoke up, waking up, "and I'm still sleepy." "You must get up, Allie, if you want to drink the morning dew with us in Littlefoot," Grandpa Longneck spoke up. "Morning dew? a tired Allie asked. Yes, it collects on the leaves in the early morning, Grandpa Longneck said, as he used his head to help Allie get up on her 4 feet. Grandma Longneck then approached a sleeping Littlefoot, nuzzling her head on his. Wake up, sleepyhead. A bright circle is rising in the sky, Grandma Longneck said as she gently woke her grandson up. Littlefoot let out a yawn as he got up and walked with his grandparents and Allie to an area of trees, passing Mrs. Swimmer and a female dinosaur iguanodon who were eating breakfast with Ducky and Spike. Good morning, Ducky. Good morning, Spike, Allie said to both her friends. Oh, Allie, it is you, Ducky said, surprised to see Allie back in the Great Valley. Spike let out a few grunts as he chewed a couple of his tree stars. Spike is very happy to see you, Ducky continued. Ah, it sure is peaceful this morning, the iguanodon spoke up as she shared her tree stars with Mrs. Swimmer. Allie looked up at the two before turning her attention back to her little bubbly green friend. So, those are your moms? Allie asked politely. Yep, they are, and I love my mamas very, very much, Ducky said as she received a hug from her mother and the iguanodon. Spike licked Allie's cheek, causing her to giggle in a very happy tone. I'm so happy to see you too, Spike, Allie said to her spike-tailed friend. As that happened, Littlefoot came towards Allie, holding a tree star full of morning dew on it. He rested it next to his special long-neck friend. Here, Allie, drink this. I think you'll find it delicious, Littlefoot said. Allie looked and saw her own happy reflection in the morning dew on the one tree star Littlefoot saved for her. Allie then took a bite and began to eat the tree star, chewing the whole thing. Soggy tree stars, Allie said, her mouth full of the one wet and green leaf. She swallowed and let out a giggle. Just then she heard Ducky's voice coming out in the distance. I have hided. Come and find me. Petrie put mud on Spike's eyes, using it as a blindfold. Now remember, Spike, listen to the sniffer, and no get distracted by green food, Petrie said. Spike began to sniff the green grass, blindfolded by the mud covering his eyes, looking for his older, energetic sister. Petrie followed the Stegosaurus as he began sniffing through a field of flowers where there were some Ankylosauruses and Corythosauruses, both young and old. He was still sniffing, even after leaving the field, and as he began climbing up a huge rock, some of Ducky's sisters, Trixie, Tessa, Daisy, and Raya, as well as two young iguanodons, were watching Spike giggling like the young and little children that they were. I am still hiding, yep, Ducky shouted from a distance. Come and find me, Spike. Spike got off the rock and continued sniffing as he walked towards a huge coconut tree filled with tree stars and coconuts. He let out a grunt and put his front legs up on the tree, sniffing out. Ducky was hiding on the first tree branch above Spike, and he let out another one of his grunts. Ducky, as a result, laughed with a tone of excitement. You founded me, Spike. Yep, Ducky shouted in excitement and energy. Way to go, Spike, Petrie also said, as Spike shook his head, getting the mud off his eyes so he could see Ducky. Spike let out a laugh, glad that he found his sister. Even Littlefoot and Allie giggled, having watched what went down. Sometime later, Sarah, Ducky, Petrie, and Spike walked towards a small tree with only one tree star in it. The four friends looked up, gazing at the only gazing at the lone green leaf up on the tree. Well, it looks like there's only one tree star left on the tree, Sarah said. Yep, 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 Ducky replied. Spike let out a slurping sound, hungry for that tree star. The very question is, who gets it? Petrie asked. What do you mean? It's my turn to get the first tree star of the day, Sarah said defensively. It may be the first one. It may be the first one of today, but it the last one on the tree. That changed the rules, Petrie declared. I'm just saying, I think it should go to, say, the oldest one, Sarah said. But that is you, Ducky said. I know, Sarah said, smiling with a big, great he. I think it should go to the littlest. That is me, Ducky said, chuckling. Fair is fair. Peach tree star mine. Right, Spike? Spike walked towards the tree, headbutting it, hoping the tree star can come down so he can have it for himself. Hey, Petrie said. Spike, stop it, Sarah said, as Spike continued headbutting the tree, grunting. Just then, Grandpa Longneck came towards the four friends. Children, what's all this fuss about? Grandpa Longneck said. It's no fair. These three know it's my turn to get the first tree star, but today there's only one. But Sarah said, frustrated. Well, now, Sarah, there is only one and not enough to go around. Perhaps it's best that someone else gets it. After all, not everyone often gets to enjoy treats from the top of the tree. I imagine this will be a very special morning for whoever gets it, Grandpa Longneck said through kindness and sympathy. I guess so, Sarah sighed. And besides, there are plenty of tree stars to grow around, Grandpa Longneck said as he walked towards a taller tree filled with tree stars. He grabbed onto one of the branches of the tree and shook it, causing various tree stars to come falling down and onto the ground. Sarah, Ducky, Petrie, and Spike laughed and cheered as it was raining the tree stars for all of them to enjoy. They began to eat the tree stars. Thanks, Grandpa Longneck, Sarah said. You're welcome, children. There's really no need to argue over food, Grandpa Longneck said. Here in the Great Valley, we have more than enough green food for all of us. Before I came here to the valley, Sharp Teeth kept me from eating the tree stars. I had to eat swamp sticks, Littlefoot confessed, chiming in. Ew! All of his friends exclaimed. Petrie noticed Allie, his eyes widening in puzzlement as he flapped his wings, hovering in midair, unsure of what to make of her sudden appearance. Allie, what you doing here? Did you get lost? Did you come to visit? Actually, I'm here to stay, Allie said. Petrie's eyes grew wider, his beak agape. Really? You're staying? Petrie exclaimed, flapping his wings enthusiastically. He zooms in closer to Allie's face. His curiosity peaked. What made you decide to stay? Petrie asked, tilting his head. You see, her mother, she passed away. She has nowhere else to go. Well, other than here, Littlefoot told his pteranodon friend. Then Petrie's expression softened as he nodded sympathetically. He flied closer to Littlefoot, concerned itched all over his face. The two friends shared an understanding glance. So, what do you So what do you want to play? So what do you want to play? Tag, the pointy seed game, swimmer, splasher? I'll play anything with you. But not the log running game. Wow, you want to play with all of us? That sounds amazing, Littlefoot enthusiastically said. Well, Allie, I'm always up for a game, but don't expect me to go easy on you, Sarah declared. Swimmer splasher, yep, 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 Ducky shouted. Yeah, last one is a stinky spike tail, Petrie exclaimed. Tag sounds fun too, Littlefoot suggested. Let's play swimmer slasher first, then tag, Sarah chimed in. Ducky nodded eagerly. Allie can be on my team. She can, Ducky cheerfully said. The group of friends cheerfully agreed as Allie's eyes sparkled. She started to feel more included by her old friends, almost as if she found herself a new family to call her own. As the group of friends made their way to Roaring Falls, she felt a deep sense of belonging. Littlefoot smiled warmly, welcoming her into their circle. Sarah softened, showing a gentle side. Petrie flew overhead. Ducky's enthusiastic yep, yep, yep became music to her ears. Spike's gentle grunts comforted her, while the kindness of all the group wrapped around her like a warm hug. For the first time since her mom's passing, Allie felt truly seen. And that is the end of that chapter. Alright, so now we are going to read chapter 4. So, in just a minute, we'll start reading chapter 4. Alright, let's go. Chapter 4. Littlefoot, Sarah, Ducky, Petrie, Spike, and Allie were all at Roaring Falls. They were playing a game of swimmer splasher. Think of this game as the dinosaur equivalent of Marco Polo. The dinosaur who was it follows the voices of the others with their eyes closed. Allie has to shout swimmer, and the other shouts splasher. When swimmer finds someone, they tag the player, and they become the new swimmer. Allie was swimmer. Swimmer, Allie shouted, taking a few steps closer, while the others swam away. Splasher, the others separately shouted as they tried to avoid Allie tagging them. Allie went underwater like a swimmer to try and tag one of them. However, Littlefoot noticed that Allie was going towards the deeper parts of the water. Allie, no, Littlefoot shouted. Watch out, Ducky shouted. You sink, Petrie shouted. Suddenly, because Allie was at the deepest ends of the water, she began drowning, thrashing about to stay afloat. "There she goes," Sarah shouted, concerned and fearing for Allie. "We need something to help us pull her out," Littlefoot said. "Help!" Allie continuously shouted as she kept trying to stay above the surface. As she continued splashing and thrashing about, trying not to drown, she remembered a similar moment when she was drowning. In the flashback, panic set in as she struggled, thrashing all her legs wildly. The water's crushing pressure continued to hold her down, and her lungs began to burn, desperate for air. Just as all hope seemed lost, a reassuring presence had their tail wrapped around her. Allie's mother's strong tail enveloped Allie, lifting her upward. With one powerful stroke, they broke through the surface. Allie gasped, inhaling precious air. "Everything is okay, Allie," Allie's mother soothed, cradling her daughter close. She enveloped her daughter in a warm nuzzle, gently rubbing her head on hers. Allie snuggled deeper, feeling safe and loved. Her mother's soothing touch calmed her trembling body. Together they basked in the serenity of the moment, and Allie's mother nuzzled her close, cherishing their bond. Suddenly she began to scan her surroundings, senses heightening. A creeping feeling of being watched settled all over Allie's mother, and she quickened her pace as alarm flashed across her face. "Faster, faster, Allie, don't look back, keep running," she told her daughter. Allie sprinted, confusion etched all over her face. Her mother's urgent tone sent shivers down her spine, and then two egg stealers, or egg nappers, with an identical look to Ozzy and Strut, burst from hiding, their sharp claws snapping wildly. Allie's mother positioned herself between the running Allie and the danger. With fierce determination, she shielded Allie, who was still running away from the danger, and found a place to hide. The egg nappers descended upon Allie's mother with savage ferocity, their razor-sharp claws tearing through her defenses until she stumbled, desperately shielding herself. The two dinosaurs' relentless onslaught intensified while Allie watched in horror, frozen in hiding. Allie's mother fell, weakened and battered. The attackers closed in for the final blow, and Allie's eyes widened, paralyzed with fear. Her mother's final glances met Allie's, and the flashback ended. In the present, Allie continued thrashing about until she saw the tree stump and grabbed onto it. Bambo, Sarah's stepdad, threw some vines close to the scared young longneck. Allie grabbed onto the vines, and Bambo pulled her to the shore. Allie was saved, but now she was even more broken than she was before. In a flashback, the egg nappers, satisfied with their brutal assault, abandoned Allie's mother's limp form. Her body lay motionless, broken and battered. Allie came out from hiding, petrified and silent. Her surroundings felt eerily still, except for Allie's soft and quiet sobs. As the reality of the tragedy sunk in, Allie's shock gave way to anguish. She cautiously approached the body, tears streaming down her face. Trembling, an overwhelming amount of grief began to consume her. Allie collapses beside her mother, laying down next to the still body. Wails of sorrow echoed through her surroundings, and she buried her face in the mother's side belly. "Mother, mother," Allie sobbed. Her small body shook with an uncontrollable anguish. Inconsolable, she clung to her mother, The sun dipping below the horizon, Allie's cries gradually subsided. As she felt motionless, exhausted. "Mother, please don't go," Allie whispered. "I don't want to lose you. You're all that I have." The flashback ended, and Allie looked at Littlefoot and his friends for a few moments, remembering all of the sadness that bestowed upon her when her mother died. After a while, she broke the silence by running toward an empty cave. She stayed in there and lied down, sobbing quietly to herself. "My star day. That was the last day I ever saw my mother," Allie said to Ducky, who approached her crying friend. "Star day? What is that?" Ducky asked. Allie wiped away a few tears with her tail, sniffled, and said, "A star day is the celebration of the day you hatched. When a star appears in the same place on the same day you hatch, they're special because your star day star can only be seen 3 nights between cold times. When the star is a foot away from the night circle, then it's your star day." Ducky nodded her head, now understanding what star days are. Allie hung her head down low again as she continued to let tears stream down her face. "I'm sorry, Ducky. I don't feel like playing anymore. Days are always so happy, and yet when I think about them, it makes me sad," Allie said through sobs that eventually came. "I did not mean to make you feel sad, Allie," Ducky said. Littlefoot, watching Ducky give comfort to Allie, wanted to go in the cave and be with her. Littlefoot However, Sarah interfered, standing in front of him and in his way. "I don't understand." "Allie isn't alone. She's with us," Littlefoot said, confused and even upset for his special friend. "Yes, but we're not her mother," Sarah explained from an unseen layer of empathy. "It's just not the same. She misses her very much. I understand how she feels, believe me, Sarah, more than you realize. I understand missing a mother," Littlefoot said as he began to remember his mother too, and all of the time they spent together. He remembered one time when he was playing hopscotch by himself. He was struggling to keep up until he fell on his belly, hurting himself hard. "Be careful," Littlefoot's mother said. Littlefoot let out a sigh as he got back up. "It's not fair. This game is too hard, and my feet are stupid. I've tried many times. So how am I supposed to get it right without falling?" Littlefoot said to his mother, frustrated. "You're right. You do it so many times, and it's good not to give up. But sometimes we find that solution is to the only problem we're facing now only in time," Littlefoot's mother said as she nuzzled her head on her son's. "Sometimes we just have to be patient. Yesterday it means nothing. Tomorrow you may succeed, but today you failed. That's a good thing, Littlefoot. Now give your legs a rest and come eat lunch with me." The flashback ended with Littlefoot giggling as his mother nuzzled him again, tickling his belly with her long tail. Sarah looked at her friend and felt the exact same way he did. Littlefoot was expressing a sense of nostalgia as he looked at Allie, who was still in the cave crying. "So do I," Sarah said. Those words surprised Littlefoot, and he faced Sarah. Those words surprised Littlefoot, and he faced Sarah. "I love Bambo. He's a great daddy, but I miss my daddy," Sarah said, feeling sad. Sarah nuzzled Littlefoot, tears streaming down her face as she remembered once more the day she said goodbye to her father, Tops. "I should have never hurt you," said those things," Sarah said, as Littlefoot began to remember the good times he and his friends had, as well as the adventures he went on with Allie. "None of it matters, Sarah. You're my friend," Littlefoot said. "Best friend," Sarah said, as she continued to nuzzle her best friend, the Longneck. As the three-horn nuzzled him, Littlefoot looked once more at Allie, who was now on her own in the cave. She was still sobbing to herself, and the sun was beginning to set. Another day is over, and soon it will be night time. He knows he's got to help her heal. He knows that he's got to be there for her and never let her go. He knows that Allie is going through exactly what he once went through. Littlefoot knows exactly what he's got to do. And that concludes that chapter. Alright, so there's one more chapter in this story that we are going to read now. Chapter 5, the final chapter. But hold on, let me get some water real quick. Start it. Hold on. I hope you've all been enjoying this story so far. I know I have. I have. I have. And as Ducky would say, yep, yep, yep. It's definitely like a heart a heart wrencher, you know. But anyways, let's continue. Chapter 5, the final chapter. Nighttime eventually came to the great valley, stars twinkling above the sky. Allie was still in the cave, though no longer crying. She was sound asleep, softly snoring. Littlefoot quietly entered the cave, his gentle footsteps echoing off the walls. He noticed Allie's tossing and turning, trapped in a nightmare. Her her whimpered cries filled the air, and Littlefoot approached, cautiously concern etched all over his face. He gently nuzzled Allie's shoulder. "Allie?" Littlefoot whispered softly. Allie's eyes snapped open. Disoriented, she sat up. She was breathless. "Littlefoot?" Allie exclaimed, relief washing over her. Littlefoot's calming presence soothed Allie's frayed nerves. Her eyes locked onto that of her friend, searching for comfort. "You were having a bad dream, weren't you?" Littlefoot asked softly. Littlefoot nodded. Allie nodded, still shaking. Littlefoot's gentle demeanor put her at ease. Together they sat in silence, her fears dissipating. All of a sudden, Allie's face contorted, tears swelling up in her eyes. "What's wrong?" Littlefoot asked, concerned for his friend. It's not fair. She should have known better, Allie sobbed. It's all her fault. She should have known better, Allie sobbed. It's all her fault. Littlefoot's ears perked up. Concern etched all over his face. All whose fault? Littlefoot asked gently. Allie's voice cracked. Mother's. Littlefoot's expression began to soften. Oh, I see, Littlefoot empathized. I see. Why did I wander so far from home? Allie wailed. Littlefoot's soothing voice calmed Allie's anguish. Allie, don't blame yourself. You didn't know, Littlefoot softly said. Allie's tears flowed, regret overwhelming her. I should have stayed closer. If only I hadn't wandered off to chase that hopper, Allie sobbed. Littlefoot nuzzled Allie gently. Your mother loved you, Allie. She protected you, shielded you, Littlefoot reassured, his expressions turning compassionate. Allie's guilt lingered. But what will I do? I miss her so much, Allie confessed. Then you'll always miss her. But as long as you remember the things she taught you, in a way you'll never be apart. For you are still a part of each other. The great circle of life has begun, and I'm going to be with you, even if you can't see me, Littlefoot said. Allie looked up, listening to Littlefoot, who wiped her tears away with this tale. Let your heart be your guide, it whispers, so listen closely. Littlefoot continued, saying words his mother once said to him when she was still around. Some things you can see with your eyes, others you see with your heart. Allie then looked at Littlefoot, her eyes gazing into his. After a few minutes of silence, Allie's sadness turned into a smile. The sun was beginning to rise, bringing another day to the great valley. The two long-necked friends decided to go out and watch it together. They went to the same place where they said goodbye and watched the sun rise. Allie had her eyes and she was breathing. Closed, and she was breathing. Her tears dried as morning broke. Warmth creeping into the great valley. Golden light began to dance around the environment, and Allie opened her eyes, her gaze shifting towards the sun, its calm settling with the young dinosaur. Her eyes, once red rimmed, sparkled as a gentle smile emerged. Peaceful tranquility enveloped her, and nature's beauty soothed Allie's sorrow. Her smile widened, her eyes shining bright. She leaned forward, nuzzling Littlefoot's long neck. His eyes twitched, and he smiled warmly, enjoying the affection. Littlefoot, Allie's warmth and gratitude enveloped him, and together they basked in comforting silence, their bond strengthened. A shimmering tree star then detached from the sky, gliding slowly down to the ground, its light dancing. Allie and Littlefoot watched, mesmerized as the tree star landed gently beside Allie's feet from the tree. Its soft glow illuminated the ground, and the two dinosaurs leaned in, fascinated. Their eyes met the tree star's dew-covered reflection, ripples distorting its luminous beauty. It was the same exact tree star Littlefoot's mother gave him. The broken pieces now all put back together. Littlefoot once more heard the voice of his mother through a memory telling him softly and gently, Look, a tree star. It's very special. It will help you grow strong and lead you the way to the great valley where we can be together and in peace. Allie's smile returned, filled with awe, and Littlefoot's tear-streaming gaze sparkled a sense of closure and belonging. Together, the two friends marveled at heaven's gift. Later that day, Littlefoot and Allie were with Sarah, Ducky, Petrie, and Spike, who were chasing a rock together like a ball. Littlefoot had his tree star on his back as he let out some laughs, sharing them with his friends. "I got it," Littlefoot shouted, chasing the small and round rolling rock. Littlefoot eventually stopped and noticed Allie was sitting in a field of flowers, wearing one on the side of her head. She's watching the beautiful skies, a sky-color stone her mother gave her resting beside her. Littlefoot approached Allie and sat next to him, watching the skies with him. "That one looks like a big hopper," Allie said. "Huh?" Littlefoot wondered, confused as to what Allie meant. "I use my imagination with sky puppies. They sometimes can look like a tree star or long neck like us," Allie said, giggling. "Oh, okay," Littlefoot replied, watching the skies and clouds with Allie. Allie then looked up and gasped. "Look, that one looks like sweet bubbles," Allie spoke up. The two friends let out some laughs before Allie looked at Littlefoot. She had never felt so happy ever since the day they said goodbye. It was almost as if the pain and sadness she felt was all washed away somehow. She then began nuzzling Littlefoot's head, gently rubbing her head on his. Littlefoot could only predict that this meant Allie was truly real back in his life. And this time she wasn't going anywhere. She wasn't leaving at all. Allie was here to stay in the Great Valley with him for the rest of her life this time. Soft, thank you, Littlefoot, for making me feel like me all over again, Allie, Allie said softly. The two dinosaurs kept nuzzling each other, a sign that a romance may be blooming in the air this morning. Airy, ethereal sounds lifted as orchestral strings swelled, violins sang with heartfelt emotion, cellos deepened the melody, woodwind whispers intertwined, horns announced triumph, trumpets shimmered bright, Tapani heartbeats pulsed in symphonic bliss unfolded. A spiritual connection resonated, Littlefoot and Allie's hearts uplifted as they stopped nuzzling, and their faces drew closer, tender and slow. Softly their lips touched each other's, a gentle, loving kiss. Allie's eyes closed, feeling cherished as Littlefoot's warmth enveloped her. Their love was finally shining bright in the great valley. "I'll never let you go, Littlefoot," Allie said to Littlefoot after the kiss. Suddenly, they heard Sarah, Ducky, Petrie, and Spike playfully scream as Sarah's stepfather, Bambo, was pretending to be the Sharptooth. Playfully scream as Sarah's stepfather, Bambo, was pretending to be the Sharptooth. Playfully roaring. The friends were playing a new game called Rescue. One has to be the shark tooth. One or two may have to be the rescuer, and the rest have to be chased and saved. Ah, he hungry, me scared, Petrie playfully called out, and I am even more scared, Ducky also said, playing along with Petrie. We need help to be saved, Sarah playfully screamed as Spike let out some playfully terrified grunted sounds. Bambo playfully roaring and chasing them to Roaring Falls. Littlefoot and Allie gave each other playful looks, and they got into a starting position. They were getting ready to start running towards Bambo, as they were the heroes of the game. Are you ready, Littlefoot? As ready as I'll ever be, Allie, Littlefoot responded. Let's do this, Allie shouted. The two friends then ran towards their friends. Allie and Littlefoot continued to give each other looks as they ran before looking toward and ahead of them. Relief washed over them. The cycle of grief's conclusion. No more sadness, chains of pain forever broken, freedom from fear, a weight lifted, new beginnings awaiting the great valley and those who inhabit it. No more regrets. A happy reminder that not all is lost. The end. And that, my friends, is the end of that story, that whole fan fiction. That was a tearjerker in a way. That one really, really, really got me into the in my feels, in the feels, you know, especially that last chapter there. Oh my god, that was so amazing. And also, so as always, please, 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 if you have any ideas for the podcast, or if you have any fan fictions you want to see, um, make sure you let me know. Um, don't forget to, if you're coming from Facebook, hi, welcome, or welcome back. If you're not coming from Facebook and you just happen to come across this podcast and you have Facebook or Instagram, Graham, we would love for you to join us over on our Facebook group, which is called the Land Before Time Fan Club. It has it has with 47,000 members plus. We also have a Instagram that I personally run myself. It is LBT Fan Club. It has and I post on that page almost every day. Sometimes only once a day, sometimes I'll miss a day, other times it's like a lot. So it really, really depends on it really, really, really just depends on what I'm doing that day, what I'm in the mood for. So why don't you go check that out? Um, Special thanks to my admin team at the Land Before Time fan club. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do this. And a special thanks to you guys for being so supportive of everything that I have done for the podcast and everything. Also, we a couple of weeks ago, well, actually, at the time of this recording, we're starting our movie week, but by the time you see this episode, it will be over. However, and I haven't really spoken about this to the admin team yet, so I don't know yet, but I'm thinking about we're thinking about maybe making this like a monthly thing, like 1 week out of every month we'll do like a watch party that which will be over on my 3IC's Discord, which if you're not joined, um I'll have to have her send you an invite. So if you want the invite, you can head over to Facebook and either join the group and make a post asking for the Discord invite link, or you can try messaging her privately on Facebook. Um, and asking for the link. But I feel like I feel like it would be better to, do it with via the group, because I don't think because I feel like she would more accept somebody who's in the group asking for it, and then the then some random person in her DMs. But yeah, we have so much fun. We've done this twice already, these movie things, and they've been really fun so far, and we hope to continue them as often as possible. Um but y'all, that, my friends, is unfortunately where we are going to end today. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you people in the next episode. Bye.